So in New Haven, the big issue of the day is pilot. They're saying that because state reimbursements have dropped so low, 32 cents on the dollar, we're left fighting among ourselves about how many people to lay off in parks and whether to raise taxes or drive people out. They're critical of what's happened in the state since you've been governor. How did it drop to 32 cents and what can we do about it?
I think that first of all, most of that drop was well before I became governor. And if you put pilot increases, particularly those that we're pushing this year, along with the school dollars that we're sending, we're actually sending millions and millions of dollars more per year to New Haven than we were before I was elected governor. So there are more than one pot of money. And so if you look particularly at the education side, New Haven has done extremely well. Now, having said that, for a long time, I think pilot was underfunded, and that's why in this year's budget we are increasing pilots. We'll in fact, pretty substantially at about 2%, and out of that allotment, New Haven will get, I think, $2.5 million on top of additional dollars on the education cost sharing side as well. Let's go back to education cost sharing. We actually changed the formula so that urban communities would actually get the lion's share of any increase. Anybody can switch money from one pile to another. What we have tried to do while I've been governor is strengthen education most particularly.
And then what about structural changes? So part of the argument is every year we're fighting over pilot. There's a tough budget. The legislators cut it. There's a bill by Senator Looney to create tiers that would guarantee that a minimum of 50% of the pilot reimbursement would go to New Haven every year. Do you support the Looney bill to make a structural change?
I'll talk to, I support a lot of things that Senator Looney does. Whether any one community should get 50% of anything, without seeing a breakdown, and I've not had this discussion with him without seeing a breakdown of the reasoning on that, it would be hard for me to endorse or criticize. What I can tell you is you can't give 50% to New Haven and 50% to Hartford and 50% to New Britain and 50% to New London and still have 100%. So we need a formula.
No, it meant 50% of what you'd be owed under pilot. No, it said 77% under statute. That couldn't go below 50.
Again, what we're doing is concentrating on education spending. I think it's the right thing to do, and we'll continue to do that. But we'll work with the legislature on appropriate programs.
And the final pilot point that's being made is that so we have a $500 million surplus. It's a one-time surplus. We're giving a tax rebate that Michael Stratton here calls a dinner voucher. He says instead of a dinner voucher, why not pump up pilot?
Again, we're not in a position to make long-term commitments at this point. And I think that anyone who disparages a family getting $110 doesn't really get how difficult life is in some of the neighborhoods in New Haven. It represents a rebate or a refund, I should say, of a portion of the sales tax that people have paid. In this budget, we will actually, over the next year, we'll get rid of one of the taxes that had to be put in an emergency situation, and that was taxes on clothing that was less than $50 in value. We're going to see that reinstated. But before we get that reinstated, I thought it was appropriate to send some of that money back to families. So whether it's a gas tax or it's a sales tax, particularly with respect to things that had not previously been taxed before the state of emergency, in essence, we were in, I'm trying to strike the right balance. I'm not critical of anybody else's proposed balance. I don't think they should be critical of mine. There's a legislative process, and we work together.